All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. Doing all that sniffling for? Yeah, they added a new feature, so I figured I would use it. Cause why not? Uh, yeah, it's the afternoon experiment. I'm Emanuel Livingston. Today is really gonna be a short show. I say that every day, seem like, and then it'd be longer and longer. But I believe today is really gonna be a short show. All right, I believe it. Hold on, let me shut down Wyatt here. And he be playing all that crazy music. Uh, so come on in. I have to say, today's show, I got some gripes. Because I've been hearing it all day, of course, all week, all month, all year, for almost my whole life. I keep hearing the same stuff, and it's irritating me finally. I'm not staying for no full 4 hour show, Sierra. Um, but let me get to it. I gotta, do what I do. Start from the top. Erica, good afternoon. Erica's representing Reading. Yeah, turn it down a little bit. You know they beeping and stuff. I gotta get her some headphones. Can you still hear it? You sure? Turn it up just a little bit. One more. Turn it up one more. Because I don't think you can hear it. Little baby. Okay, you can hear it. What was I at? Erica representing Reading. We got Anthony in the house. Good afternoon, Anthony. Sierra, lightweight hating. I understand. Good afternoon, Sierra. Daryl, lightweight hating too. It's a new feature, y'all. Come on, don't hate on me. Scott, good afternoon. I am gonna do a countdown, like a real countdown. Put my countdown on. That way y'all know when to come in. I'm gonna do the thing where I license the music because I got to get my theme song back. I feel lost without the theme song. Like the show has no purpose, no meaning without my theme song. So I got to get that back too. Got Myosha lightweight hating. Good afternoon, Myosha. Good afternoon. I hope Mike Jones is okay today. Carolyn. Good afternoon. I'm doing too much. Why y'all all haters? Good afternoon, Carolyn. Got Maria in the house, representing North College Hill. Sierra checking in from Boston. I already said her because of her hate, but now she's just saying hello. Brent, representing Dallas, Texas. Let's see. We got Pamela in the house. Good afternoon, Pamela. North Avondale. I was listening. I didn't see. I want to check that out to see what you want. What Fannie Willis. We might watch a little bit of that. If I can figure out how to get it up here. I didn't like the way that sounded. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, I already did that. And I do this. So are they? Hold on. Let's see. Hold on a second, y'all. See, I'm pulling up CNN. Where else, if anybody know real quick, where else can I live stream this funny however you pronounce her name. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just not 100% sure. Where else can I pull up the live stream? Where else can I pull up the live stream? Hold on, let me get through. Dominique, good afternoon. Got Logic Slayer, good afternoon. Nobody needs longer shows. Andrea, representing Gulf Manor, good afternoon. Got Tria in the house, good afternoon. I might already say it, Tria. Dwayne, good afternoon. Good afternoon. YouTube, okay, I'll pull it up on YouTube. Anthony Prosser, all right. I already said Tria. Preston, good afternoon. LaDonna representing Norwood. We got, let me see, Staban representing Westwood. Good afternoon, everybody. Twin, we'll be talking about you a little bit today. We'll be talking about you. Maybe not you specifically, but the kind of general you. Let me see. Tessie, good afternoon. DeWanda, good afternoon. Shahara, good afternoon to you as well. Yeah, I don't know. I really do like Shahara. I don't think I've ever met her, but just our interactions here. If you don't know nothing else about me, no, I like people who push back because I like a good, exchange of ideas, and I like her. Let's see. I think did I get Lamont in the house, representing Westwood. Gloria, representing the east side. Don't be fighting. We don't need the east side fighting the west side. No fighting up in here. Jack, good afternoon. Jack says, hopefully it's a different song than your show on the buzz. No, it's the same song. Don't hate on my song. I'll ban you. No, I won't ban you, but that's a good song. I like that song. Nikki, good afternoon. Got Janice in the house. Janice say, hey, wow, this Fannie Willis investigation is stressful. Hold on. See, I'm trying to go to pull this up. Hold on. I should just be able to go here. As I do that, y'all can tell it's hard for me to do two things at the same time because I have issues. Terry, representing downtown. We got Dominique in the house. Dominique. Oh, by the way, she's got on a green jacket. That's why it's doing that. Her jacket is green, so you see the background through it. But it's not the right color green, so it's doing crazy stuff. Let me see. Dominique, I would tell you what part of town I'm in, but Ross Freeman be stalking me. Well, we don't want to see that happen. Let's see. Lewis said he haven't had a haircut in a while. CK in the house. Let me see. Anybody else? I think I got everybody. Oh, Stefan in the house. All right. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you've ever been here before. But thank you. We got Fame in the house. Fame. He's in Lancaster listening. Stephanie. Good afternoon. Stephanie. I was not hating on her Excel sheet. I didn't understand it initially, but then as I understood it, I just thought she was doing it wrong. But she had a right to do it wrong. And Brenda from Fairfield. Didn't R. Kelly write that song? I thought we were still banning him. I don't believe R. Kelly wrote that song. I thought it was Brian McKnight and D'Angelo. I'm fairly certain it was Brian McKnight and D'Angelo, not R. Kelly. But I'll check into it. I will check into it. Sabrina representing North College Hill. Breenie in the house. Vincent in the house from Middletown. All right. Thank y'all for joining. Let's see. Get this up here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. I'm not looking for Usher Super Bowl no more. What am I looking for? Misconduct. live streaming. All right, see if we can get this up here. If we can get the live stream up. Because I do want to I was watching a little bit earlier. I was in and out kind of checking it out. But if she's on the stand, this is from 11 Alive. So Fanny, she's on the stand. We'll watch a little bit of this. We'll talk about it. How do y'all feel about this? Hold on, let's do this. Do this, do that, do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Turn that up a little bit, and let's see, do I have that in here? Yeah.
Which one's 20 is 2021, so it accounts for the time period, Your Honor, January the 1st, 21 through December
All right.
1st, 2021. That is Defendant's Exhibit 20.
And hold on, as we do this.
January the 1st, 2022 through December the 1st of 2022.
Any objection to exhibits 20 and 21?
Nope.
Other counsel? Permitted without objection.
When did your personal relationship with Mr. Wade end? Our personal relationship
Hold on, let me see if I can figure this out.
this year.
All right, I don't want to be there.
Let's be very clear so that we don't mix words. I don't want to mix words in here. Mr. Wade is my friend right now. Mr. Wade, I would say, has been my friend since 2020. I think he started out as like a mentor and a professional colleague. He became my friend and somebody that I really respected. I feel very indebted to Mr. Wade on the task of this job. And he is certainly my friend and one of the people that I respect the most. So if you asked about a personal relationship, I consider myself to have a personal relationship right now, Mr. Wade. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Anna Cross. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Mr. Abadi. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Andrew Eccles.
Can y'all hear her just fine?
Personal
Or
relationship
do I need to turn her up?
as we speak right now. I don't think that's what you're asking. I think romantic relationship. When did your romantic relationship with Mr. Wade end? When did it end? Me and Mr. Wade, we are good friends. My respect for him has grown over these 7 weeks of attacks. We are very good friends. I think, but for these attacks, it would have been a friendship that, as life goes, you would have stopped having. I think that you have cemented that we'll be friends till the day we die.
Could
we just have an answer to the question?
I can handle Mr. Sato. Let's have it.
She asked about a personal relationship.
She asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
It's sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe me in, this is what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right?
No, I'm just asking about your romantic relationship, when you stopped dating. I'm asking.
I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man, he probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in August. So that men in relationships at the end of physical intimacy, women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
And where, when did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo, so I'm trying to use those terms.
So there's been more than, see, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I
Ms. Mercer, if you could ask a more precise question.
Yes, please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visits you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this, let me tell you which one you lied in, right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth.
Judge,
It is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Wells?
You see.
Mr. Sato, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
May I go to the bathroom?
Take 5. We're gonna relax a little bit. Wow. Wow. See, but that's the thing. See, these are lawyers. These are lawyers. You put lawyers on the stand. Lawyers are going to make you be very specific about the question that you're asking, because they are only going to answer a specific question. And they know how to answer a question the way they want to answer it. They know what they doing. So they know what you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. But yeah. Funny. And I saw where what was it? Sierra, Shahara, somebody, one of the S or C's said, one of the Sierra, Shahara, one of them, I hate she's having to go through this. I don't care about her having to go through this. I really don't. She brought this on herself. Now, I mean, just realistically speaking, I know a lot of people like, what difference do it make in the case? It might not make any difference. It shouldn't make any difference in the case. But come on, we all know that there's appropriate and there's inappropriate behavior. There's appropriate and there's inappropriate behavior in the office, and especially, you know, you're hiring a special prosecutor who you're also involved with sexually. She was out of order for that. Yeah, I know she was out of order for that. Oh, it's Bonnie Willis, and, you know, she doing the job and all that kind of stuff. Tria says, what did she bring on herself? She brought questions on herself. That's what she brought. She brought questions about her integrity on herself. If I hire, and I'm not in a position of public trust or nothing, but if I hire somebody that I'm sleeping with to do the job, you got to write the question, did that person get hired because you're sleeping with them? Are you paying that person like for services rendered, you know, romantic services rendered and all of that kind of stuff? And especially it's tax money at stake here. So she brought those questions upon, but they brought those questions upon themselves. Tria says, no one had questions until now. And that's just it. You are involved in a very high profile piece here. You are involved in a very high profile piece here. So if you're involved in a very high profile piece, a case, you know, whatever, yeah, people gonna start asking questions. You have to be, what they say, above reproach. And in this at this time, she's not, or at least potentially not. And Tria, don't be getting all spicy. Talk about and nothing, Ninja. I'm asking, why you gotta be all spicy now? Yo, don't let your sisterhood with Fanny, whatever it is. Don't let your sisterhood with her write a check that don't get all wrapped up in that. Don't get all wrapped up in that. I know y'all feel for her. Oh, hold on. They're coming back. That's that look I was talking about yesterday. Don't be walking through Walmart or Walgreens looking like that. Now, she got a reason to look like that right now. She irritated. She on the stand. She got a reason to have this look. I had to find her on my screen. She got a reason to have this look. But you walking through Walgreens trying to be approached don't look like that. But right now, she got a reason to have that look on her face. She's annoyed and irritated by some stuff she brought on herself.
Before we proceed, though, I'll advise everyone here, this being a room mostly full of lawyers who have spent their lives in and out of a courtroom. We all know what professionalism looks like, what decorum looks like, and devoting ourselves to the rule of law and proper advocacy. I would urge everyone to keep those principles in mind, starting with the fact that we won't talk over each other. And from there, we'll get through this. Ms. Merchant.
Thank you, Judge. How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to? That's one lie you told in your document. No.
Judge, I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question. I think she's saying and answering that he did not live with her. So why don't we break that up into smaller
Ever.
parts?
I didn't ask about living.
But you put in your, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents he
She'll
lived
have
with me
full opportunity to respond.
In
and filed
2000
that with the court.
in
professionally.
2019,
He's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton. He has never been to my residence in 2019, ever, not once.
in 2019, he's never been to your residence, any place.
I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here, a house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there. But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020, let alone live with me, as you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3 months of 2021, when I could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
So in 2020, so you said 2019, 2020, did Mr. Wade ever visit you at a place that you
He
resided?
has never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020 was before I knew that a phone call was going to be made and I was going to have to abandon my home. As a result thereof, he never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
In 20, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay. I don't understand. You're not getting that. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my home in
we're
South
gonna clarify
Fulton,
this. We'll break it
he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be my first time out to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony. So we need to break this down. Ms. Merchant's question, I believe, was
Doesn't she have a
asking
lawyer
whether you lived
who
anywhere other than
objected
South
and
Fulton.
saying, objection, that question has been asked and answered.
I did not live anywhere but South Fulton, Georgia in 2020. That is before I began my prosecution of this case, and it was my plan to only live there.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Ms. Yearby?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did.
Yes.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited.
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about, during
2020?
2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019. I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone, so I'm going to say yes.
So outside of the vacations that we've already talked about, did you ever go out to dinner with Mr. Wade?
I mentioned to you that
I'm going to object as to what time period. Like we're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as hostile under 611. We're no longer doing that. So we're going to go back and forth. We need to be more specific with our questions if we're going to treat her as hostile.
All right, Ms. Merchant, it's not so much, I think you can elect between leading and open-ended questions, but I think we are still wondering about, and I think we need to get back on track of focusing on the financial benefit or the relationship.
And my next question about if you did go out to dinner, who paid when you went out to dinner?
he paid, I paid.
You both paid.
Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anyone. He caught the bill, I caught the bill. Whomever.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
Well, yes. We're talking about, I'm very confused.
You've
now.
never
Like,
given Mr. Wade money through Cash App?
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened is, no, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
If
never
we
used
would
your
go to
credit card?
dinner,
Let her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never
I
wrote him
need
a
to
check?
hook up with Bonnie Willis.
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question was,
telling
do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying to you? Is
proof?
that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left. Because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written
and we
proof.
can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises.
Judge,
and that's
I
the
asked if she gave
plus
him written
Aruba.
proof.
We're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis and Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to let you clarify your answers when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record, other than your testimony, of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through, however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my
I'm going to
bills?
object. This is not relevant as it relates to why we're here today.
Thank you for objecting.
Mr. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No.
Okay.
I went shopping too and I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Finding Books, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them 2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to
I think it's already come up. The finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, you can continue your answer.
what came up with Mr. Wade as it relates to hearsay statements that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said in relation to an author. So it's not relevant to the testimony that's occurring at this time.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book, she also makes a statement as to her own finances, and that's at issue.
So you gave interviews to the authors of this book, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay. And,
Just to be comprehensive. I don't know if it was 3 times, 2 or 3 times, I think.
you were quoted in the book, and I will give you a chance to say if this is a misquote. You were quoted, when they asked you about if you wanted to run for office for DA, you were quoted, "I really don't want to be financially effed up again." Do you remember saying that?
So what that refers to,
My question first is if you remember saying that.
I remember saying something similar to that, but I would like to be able to explain what that's in
fine.
reference to. That's not in reference to anything else. It was a huge sacrifice to be district attorney in Fulton County, huge. I was doing just fine. I had a municipal court judgeship that was paying me $100-something thousand a year, and like you got to show up twice a week. Easiest thing I've ever done in life. I also had private clients that were paying me to represent them. So I was able to have a law practice and that. Raising 2 daughters by myself, there were times in life where things were hard. And so I was telling people, I don't really run for DA. I don't want to run for DA. I'm in a good position right now. I got this easy job that I enjoy, being the chief judge of the city of South Fulton. I'm making money at the law firm, and I'm not sure that I want to make this sacrifice. And why does it always have to be me? Eventually, I prayed. I think that I was the appropriate person. I think that I did that. So when you're referring to that, what I'm saying is, why should I make a sacrifice again? And what I was not talking about is being district attorney. Once you get elected district attorney, you're in a fine financial position. I make over $200,000 a year. What I was talking about is I ran for judge. When I ran for judge, I took $50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement. And that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years. People, it's very relevant as to what my mindset was about this. So I'm trying to answer your question. So what I was saying is
Taylor, solely to finance.
right, but it is about my finances. If I didn't, nobody put me in this seat. So I had already run for office once. I had spent $50,000 of my own money running, and it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. The odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke like I didn't have any. So broke is relative to depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset was like, I just gave $50,000 away.
Right. So they characterized it from their conversations with you that you were broke, you had poured your own money into the campaign, and you weren't able to pay your own bills because of your clients couldn't pay their bills to you, and you had a paltry array of family and asset forfeiture cases. It says you were trying to make it month to month. Is that an accurate depiction of your financial situation at that point?
I would want to read that, but I don't remember clients not being able to pay their bills, or
May I approach, Judge?
you can't.
You may.
Page 13.
I have not read this book.
Chelsea asked what we're watching. This is DA Bonnie Willis in Fulton County, Georgia. They got a case against Donald Trump, and they are basically trying to disqualify her. And are they also
So like
trying
this
to
back here,
disqualify?
her ex-husband Fred had run into a financial,
Is it Williams?
I have no information
I
about
didn't ask
that.
about that. I just asked about if you were,
Or at least a portion.
what they represent from their interviews with you, that you were broke and that you had clients that weren't able to pay their bills.
Can you show me where that is? Because this is where you put the tab, so that's where I read.
Broke, couldn't pay their bills.
Yeah, I'm sure I characterized myself as broke as leaving that $50,000. I don't know that I had her nascent law practice at paltry array.
Well, you just
I didn't have-
Ms. Merchant.
I thought I had a law practice. So this is not correct. I'm sure it's just, I didn't have any asset forfeiture cases. So I had one case where they had took one of my clients' money at the airport. I don't know if that's what I don't know. Paltry array, I did have family law cases. I guess that's what they're talking about. And clients who couldn't pay their bills ain't clients, so no.
So my question was just if this was a fair and accurate representation where it says you were trying to make it month to month at that point in time.
No, I don't think that that is actually a fair and accurate representation, but I am certain that after the 2018 election, I'm still not really happy about having given up that $50,000.
You know when you paid your tax lien?
I don't.
You don't? You know if you paid it?
I know I've paid some taxes. I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Did you tell anyone at Fulton County Board of County Commissioners about your relationship with Mr. Wade?
No.
Did you disclose your relationship to anybody at Fulton County?
No, I don't think so.
And as the chief law enforcement officer of Fulton County, I assume that you're familiar with the county code and ordinances?
I've said we're not going to cover that this hearing, Ms. Merchant.
I'm sorry, Judge?
I think we said we weren't going to cover the county regulations.
Okay, and I won't. Let me ask you this then. So are you aware that you're required to disclose any relationship with someone that you contract with in Fulton County?
I'm going to object to the court prior ruling that you made this morning.
Would this be different because it's a potential for impeachment?
Yes.
What did you ask me?
Ms. Merchant, did you re-ask the question?
Okay. Are you aware that Fulton County requires you to disclose any relationship with someone that you're doing business with?
I'm not aware, and I know often that things are confused with state constitutional officers in county, but I'm not aware.
Okay. So it's not so it's your understanding that you don't have a duty to disclose the
She's
relationship?
answered that question. Let's keep going.
There you go, Jim.
Did you keep track of this cash that you paid him at all?
What are you talking? I don't understand.
Did you keep track? Did you keep a ledger? Did you keep track of it?
So I've only given him cash, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 times. There's no ledger. This is friends handing money off to each other.
So the answer is no, you didn't keep
And I think
track.
you've already asked whether there was any written proof whatsoever, and she's
Yes.
answered that.
Okay.
So we've covered this. Let's move on.
I don't know who her lawyer is, but
Who were you referring to when you suggested that Mr. Roman's motion to disqualify was racially motivated?
We already said we're not talking about the forensic misconduct that's been alleged.
Okay. And, okay.
And just so the record is clear, I don't believe I said that his motion was racially motivated, so I don't want that to stay there. I've never said his motion was racially motivated, so that should not be true.
I think it would be best if we don't need to go down that road. We're going to save that for argument.
You once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County, is that correct?
An employee?
Anyone that worked for Fulton County,
I think I said an employee.
okay? So that's the qualification you give an employee? You
I
wouldn't,
think that's the statement that I made, so if you want to quote me accurately.
so It's your position because Mr. Wade was not an employee? Or it's your position he wasn't an employee, correct?
Mr. Wade is not an employee, and he will tell you that over and over again.
Just one moment, Judge.
I'm sorry, I was speaking low when I talked. I didn't really want to overtalk.
I'm sorry, the statement, just so I make sure I accurately quote you. What you said was, you won't sleep with people who work under you. Do you not consider Mr. Wade working under you?
I consider Mr. Wade to be an agent.
An agent?
Yeah. An appointee is what I really think of him as.
Your point, whatever merit it has, Ms. Merchant, is on the record. Next question. All right. Do we need any moments in a minute? Mr. Sadow.
No, I'm ready to go, Your Honor.
All right.
Now, this guy was trying to be slick earlier. He kept accidentally calling the other guy Mr. Willis. I thought it was kind of
I'm
fun.
going to try to ask you questions that you can actually answer without having to explain, okay?
Yes, sir. My comprehension skills are pretty good, so we should do all right.
We shall soon see. If I heard you correctly, you moved into what I will refer to as the Yurti condo in either March or April of 2021. Is that correct?
Sometime between late February and April, yes. I don't, just so we're clear, yes. But in that time period, you're in the ballpark. We're in the ballpark.
And is that Yurti condo, would you say that it is in Hapeville?
It is in Hapeville, yes, sir.
And you moved
We
in
might,
there for
Daryl, if she
safety
stays
reasons?
on the stand the whole time.
Father, yes, I moved in there. We were concerned. My father was terribly concerned about me continuing to live at the house. And so they were clear. People came to my house at 5 o'clock in the morning about the police brutality cases, saying I was going to have a wake-up call. There were security threats due to gang cases, and there were concerns due to that was at the very beginning of this, looking into that. And so for all of those reasons and what was happening, my father wanted me out the house, and begrudgingly I left.
Okay, so the answer to the question was yes for safety reasons, correct?
Those were all of the things that caused the safety concerns. I'm
I'm
sorry.
not questioning whether they are or are not safety concerns. I just asked that you moved into this condo, the RT condo,
Right.
for safety reasons, right?
Yes.
Okay. At the time that you moved into the condo, be it from February to April of 2021,
Yes.
was your father still living in your house?
Right, because my father.
That's
yeah.
all I asked you.
But I get to explain the answer, sir.
I don't know if there's an explanation. If I ask you, was your father still living at your house, the answer is either he was or he wasn't.
Yes, but you are going to get to argue at the end of this, as we both know.
I'm not gonna argue
And so
anything.
I
I'm
would
gonna
like to
ask-
be able to explain why.
I'm gonna-
And so,
okay.
yes, because my father is an older gentleman, he was worried about COVID, and he stayed.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to say that's the second time. Whenever we have to put a pause, stop testifying, okay? You'll have a chance to explain yourself. The question was whether your father was not staying there at the time, and you're clarifying that in your answer as well. You can have a brief clarification, but it shouldn't be something that reaches well beyond the question. All right, Mr. Sadow, you can re-ask the question. We'll see where it takes us.
Okay, thank you. Was your father still living in your house at the time you moved to what I would refer to as a Yurti condo?
Yes, sir, he was, due to his concerns related to COVID.
Okay. The safety concern was that there was potential danger at your house. Is that correct?
Yes, my address had been exposed, so yes, there was concerns about potential danger at my house.
Okay, so anyone staying at your house in the time period after you went to the Yurti condo was still in danger, correct?
Yeah, well, no, he did.
I think you have to, it's your attorney, Ms. Willis. Sorry, Mr. Potter, your objection is speculation
Yes.
to the question of
Speculation.
whether someone was still in danger at her condo,
Just let her answer the question.
or Mr. Sadow wants to rephrase.
No,
I'm not sure.
I was able to
I've got-
understand it.
I've got the objection, and then I have,
I'll withdraw the objection. We can move forward.
Okay.
So, and I don't remember the question, so I can answer it.
but you can now that the objection's been withdrawn. Can you try to answer that question?
Yes.
Was there still a safety concern
I was-
for people staying at the house?
Yes, I was very concerned about my father still living at the house. However, if you have dealt with an older gentleman, he was not leaving the house, despite my urging him that I thought he should leave as well. He did not want to leave the house because he was particularly worried at his age about COVID. But that became I don't want to say, I was not happy with that decision of my father's, but I can't ultimately make him leave, and he stayed there too long, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. During that period that you left to go to the Yerty condo, did any of your children stay at your house?
So I don't think that they were there at that point. Certainly my baby wasn't there.
I'm talking about this entire period. We're talking about, if I remember correctly, and you'll correct me, I'm sure, you said that you stayed there at what I would call the Yerty condo until January of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you, in that period, which would be February to April of 2021 until January of 22, did any of your children stay at your house?
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand. So I would ask you to not yell at me. That being said, I don't actually expressly remember, but I can tell you, since I have left my home, there have been times my oldest daughter came in. But I can't tell you with certainty the time window that you said, if they did or not. So I don't want to speculate to that. But there was some time that my oldest daughter came back. Whether it was that period or after I left the Yerty residence, I'm not sure, okay?
Okay, so if I continue to go into more detail on this, you're not going to be able to give me an answer of whether or not, in fact, any of your children were still at the house or stayed at your house during that time period, correct?
What I can give you clarity of, so that we are clear, is from the time I moved out in February-ish of 2021, after I left there was a time period that my oldest daughter came back. But if you're asking me, was it in that window or after, I just don't have a recollection of that, because, you know, your kids come and they go. And so I don't remember the specific time period, and I apologize for that.
Did your children ever stay with you at the Yerty condo?
Like maybe a night,
Okay.
like for a girls' night or something, but live with, no.
Okay. Did anyone else stay with you at the Yerty condo, including Miss Yerty?
Never. Miss Yerty never lived in the condo. She met her husband and they moved. They weren't quite married, but they moved. Nobody ever lived with me in the condo. That was
My word was stayed, not lived. Stayed with you at the condo.
I guess I don't
That's my
understand the
phone ringing.
distinction, but
I can't
no one ever,
answer it.
I think my oldest child, I think she spent one night with me, maybe my oldest and my youngest, but I think that whole time I was in that place, other than that one night, I don't think anyone ever, there was a very lonely period in my life. I don't think anyone ever spent the night other than maybe one night. I remember a picture of my baby sitting on the couch in that place, and I'm thinking she spent that night. But just a very lonely time in life.
Okay. We'll stay with the lonely theme just for a minute. Did Nathan Wade visit you at the Yerty condo from the time you moved in until he was hired on November the 1st of 2021?
So I moved out of that condo, but during that time period, I'm sure he came to visit. He came to visit. I can remember us going, I think the restaurant's Lickety Split. I can remember him picking me up, going to Lickety Split and ordering some food and coming and sitting at my table and eating. So I remember times that he visited me at that condo, yeah.
Okay, could you give us an approximation of how many times Mr. Wade visited you at the condo between the time you moved in and prior to November 1 of 2020?
I don't think often, but I don't want to speculate.
Can we say more than 5, more than 10?
I'm going to tell you the problem I'm having here. Let's say more than 10, but I'm not sure that that's even accurate. He certainly has come and picked me up, gone to grab some food to eat. I don't remember him being in that condo a lot.
Okay, that's your.
I'm sorry. You want a number, and what I don't want
You're
to do.
giving me your
is
current
mess-
and best recollection is all I'm asking for.
That's all I can give you, sir.
How many times did any of the prosecution team, how many times did Anna Cross come to that condo between the time you moved in and November 1st of 2021?
I don't think Anna's ever been to that condo.
What about any other prosecutor that's involved in the prosecution of this case?
I don't think any of them have.
Just Mr. Wade.
That's correct, sir.
But it was a lonely time.
Oh, my God. That 2021, I have a lot of guilt about this time period in my life. Let me tell you why. But yes, it was a lonely time.
Okay.
I was very appreciative to the citizens for giving me this responsibility and this duty. But what I very, very quickly learned is that this is a very isolating job, and 2021 was a lonely time. I turned 50 in 2021. That's probably one of the worst birthdays I've ever had. I spent it alone. So I have a clear recollection of 2021 being lonely.
Okay. Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo, the time period I'm talking about, prior to November of 2021, when Ms. Yerty was at the condo?
So Miss Yurdy and me, we didn't share the condo at the same time.
So the answer would be no.
But we never stayed there together, so it's an
Oh, I'm saying-
impossibility.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Miss Yurdy, because we need to get clarification on this. Miss Yurdy stayed in that place. There may have been a time that me and Mr. Wade visited, like went and saw Miss Yurdy, but me and Miss Yurdy never lived there together. Just so we're clear.
Well, maybe that was clear, but I'm going to have to try again.
Okay.
Was Ms. Yerty still living in the condo when you moved in?
Not a day.
Okay. So when I'm
That was another
talking,
misrepresentation in this. We never lived together. I never lived with Miss Yurdy.
my question though, I'm trying to understand
Okay.
that after you moved in to the condo, Ms. Yerty she was out of the condo, right?
She got a house.
That's all I'm asking. She's not in the condo.
We never stay, Miss Yurty and I never stay a day together in the condo. All of her stuff was out of the condo, and all my stuff, some of my stuff, not all of it obviously, was moved into the condo. So we never stayed there together. No, sir.
All right. So when I asked you about Mr. Wade visiting the condo,
Yes.
when you were staying there,
Yes,
Ms. Yerty wasn't staying there, correct?
that would be correct, yes.
She wouldn't be at the condo, correct?
No, she would not have
It
been.
would be you and Mr. Wade alone at the condo, correct?
Yes,
That is, there weren't any other witnesses to Mr. Wade and you at the condo, correct?
yes.
No security, none of your security detail.
Would object. She said it was just her and Mr. Wade.
You made your point, Mr. Sadow. Let's move on to the next one.
Yes, Your Honor. Who in the prosecution team, prior to, I guess, the motion being filed by
She was lonely. Leave her alone.
Defendant Roman, who in the prosecution team knew of your personal relationship, and now I'm talking romantic, with Mr. Wade?
So, sir, I am extremely private.
All I asked
No,
you
no,
is who
no.
knew. It's not, the answer is no one knew, that's fine.
No.
I ask you who knew.
You answer
me just tell you
it
this.
and then explain this, Willis.
I am very private. When I supervised Mr. Body and Mr. McAfee, they didn't know who I was dating, but I can assure you I was dating somebody. So that I kept something private, that's my private life, is not any mystery to anyone. It's like a woman doesn't have the right to keep her private life private. And I'm speaking on this because there have been all these intimations.
You still haven't answered the question, Ms. Willis.
I'm sorry, what was the question, then, Your Honor?
Is there anyone else who knew about it? And then you can explain.
I don't know. I don't think so. I certainly didn't go out telling my business to the world.
Okay, so, the best of your recollection, you didn't inform anyone on the prosecution team that the individual that you had chosen to lead the prosecution team had a personal relationship with you.
So
Is that correct?
That's inaccurate. Your question is inaccurate.
What?
Because you stated that the person I chose, we had a personal relationship. So we had a friendship. We have all these distinguishing factors. Remember, when I chose him in November of 21, first of all, let's get this straight. Mr. Wade was not actually my first choice. That's no insult to him.
Your Honor,
No,
I
it is, you, because of the way you phrased the question, you said, when I chose him, I didn't inform people of a personal relationship. We have defined personal as romantic. It is an inaccurate way to state the question.
And I will
as-
certainly restate it so it is very accurate.
Okay, and please do not yell at me.
You hired Mr. Wade for the first time on November 1st of 2021, correct?
November of 2021, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Your testimony is, whether one accepts it or not, your testimony is that at the time you hired Mr. Wade, there had never been a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade before you hired him, correct?
Yes, my testimony is that we were very good friends, but we're talking about a sex, so let's just don't,
No,
well,
I'm not talking about, I'm saying romantic relationship doesn't necessarily have to be just sex.
Well,
It can
I
be
don't-
dating, it can be holding hands, it can be any of those things that one might call romantic. I'm asking you whether or not prior to November 1st of 2021, there was a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade. It's very simple. It's either a yes or a no.
I don't consider my relationship with him to be romantic. Before that, I'm not a hand holder, so no.
That's fine. Now, let's move beyond November 1st of 2020,
Yeah.
2021, excuse me. If I understand your testimony, there was no romantic relationship with Mr. Wade until early in 2022, whether it be January or February or March, early in 2022, correct?
I would say sometime between February and April. Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I'm asking you about that time period when it became romantic,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you.
Okay. You didn't see the need, if I understand, to tell any of the people on the prosecution team when you had established a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade, that the lead prosecutor, that is the man that was basically giving orders to others, was dating or having a romantic relationship
not
with
take
you,
this?
correct?
I'm going to object to relevance at this point, Your Honor. Not relevant.
Just to prove or attempting to show that there is an issue on the credibility about the relationship. The failure to have informed anyone on her team that she was having a romantic relationship with the lead prosecutor, I suggest gives rise to that inference. That's the relevance.
The inference that
The inference that they were concealing this because it was
Yo,
not
this
as
is
it's
the
been
law.
characterized to the court. And then
Get
in
your
fact, it
emotions
started
out of it.
earlier than what they say.
all right, overruled. Mr. Seda.
I just want to make sure that we're clear. From at least 2020, me and Mr. Wade were friends. At least that time period.
Okay, I'm not talking
So
about,
no, I want to be clear because my credibility is being evaluated here, right? We were friends. We hung out prior to November of 2021. In November of 2021, I hired him. I do not consider our relationship to have become romantic until early of 2022. Because I don't know a date and time, I'm saying sometime between February and April of 2022, and very early April of 2022, because I know that the trip that I discussed with you was like the first week of 2022, that the relationship had become romantic. I hope that answered your question, but I can't have it where, you know, we're saying something differently.
All right, so you'd established the timeline as you put it. The question originally was, at that time, did you tell any other prosecutors?
I never tell people at work who I'm dating.
All right, Mr. Seda.
okay. Did you take any trips to DC with Mr. Wade?
Never.
Did you take, okay, so you have no, what I would call personal trips or business trips to DC with Mr. Wade?
I never went to DC with Mr. Wade, personal, business, otherwise, never.
Okay, so,
I've never been in the District of Columbia with Mr. Wade, or Maryland, Virginia, the DMV as they call it.
so as I understand it, just to be clear, any trips that you would have taken to see DC would not,
That was a pretty clear answer.
huh?
That was a pretty clear answer.
Ask the minute
She just said no.
twice.
So you have a variation or something new to bring up?
I'll ask it and we'll see. Did you take trips to DC that were non-business during the time period that this case or this matter was under investigation?
I'm going to object as to relevance as it relates to the matter that we're here before Your Honor today.
Well, again, the question already asked is, should you take personal or business trips? She said,
But that was with
Personal
Mr.
or
Wade.
business?
That was with Mr. Wade. This I asked her
Pete
alone
Copenhaver,
whether she took.
The guy that they're talking
the
about
relevant- what would be the
testified
relevance of that?
earlier
I'm trying to
today.
understand whether or
And
not
he said they're not
we have
together.
an ability to show a personal trip in which Mr. Wade is there at the same time. I understand her answer, okay? I understand her answer, but we have documents, we have records that
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the documents, the things that.
well, this could be something that's maybe not part of the record yet, but if he has I think there have been other things discussed in this case, and they have evidence that Mr. Wade may have been in DC at the same time. If you want to ask about that exact specific date, Mr. Sadon, you can do that.
I would reference to the court that that was not asked of Mr. Wade, anything about any trips to DC.
Sure. And so that's going to limit its merit and impact and on credibility. So, Mr. Sadon, ask the question.
So,
whether, I understand your testimony is you never took a trip to DC with Mr. Wade.
That's correct.
Personal or business.
that's correct.
Were you ever in DC at the same time as Mr. Wade?
I was not.
On personal or business?
No, me and Mr. Wade have not been to DC at the same time. However, since Mr. Wade has been on this case, he's been to DC. Since Mr. Wade has been on to this case, I've been to DC. What has not happened is we have not been in the District of Columbia at the same time. Now, the only thing I'm not sure about with what you asked me is if I've been to DC personally, because I've got a lot of personal friends in that area, but I know that I have been to DC. I did an interview at Howard University. I went to DC for that. Seems like I've been to DC one other time. Oh, I went to DC for the Global Summit. Actually, yeah, those were two separate trips.
My next question is based on her opening the door, and therefore I'll just ask it, and Your Honor can decide whether or not it's appropriate. When you went to DC, did you go to the White House?
Object, Your
I did
Honor.
not go to the White House.
No, well,
Apparently, I'm going to get the answer anyhow.
there you have it. Next question.
Okay. You indicated your best recollection was that your relationship with Mr. Wade, the romantic relationship, ended, you left it in August of 2023. That sound right?
That's the hard conversation. That's not the,
We've covered this. Next question.
And you characterize it as a tough conversation, correct?
yes,
I'm not going to get into the conversation per
we
se.
should.
Well, if he doesn't want to, we won't go there. So, Mr. Sadon, next question.
You know, it's kind of hard to say no when you've got that opportunity. But all I'm going to say is, was it pre-indictment in this case?
So,
We know the timeline that the indictment was delivered.
okay,
Well,
but,
actually,
and so that
I'll
we're
give you
clear,
that.
the
Okay.
physical relationship ended pre-indictment.
And is that when you were talking about the tough conversation?
But I'm not sure that the tough conversation didn't happen until after, but the physical relationship, so I'm sure if you ask Mr. Wade, because he's a male, he would say we ended June or July, because physical contact ended then. Just in my mind, being a woman, it's over when you have that, like, hard conversation. I just think women and men think differently.
And I think the answer, Mr. Sadon, to your question was she's not sure whether it was before or after the indictment.
Well, I'm not
No,
sure
they're
that
not
that was your
together.
answer, but let's see if I can get specific.
That is what I said. That's what I said.
I'll let you. Next question, Mr. Sadon. If you need to
Want to say
clarify.
one more? The romantic relationship ended before the indictment was returned, yes or no?
To a man, yes.
Well, to a man, yes. To you, no?
She's explained this, Mr. Sadon. She's explained this.
And did the forthcoming indictment have anything to do with that? Or was it just a coincidence?
Let's go on and have the conversation.
No, I've just asked you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had
or-
absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No?
Sure.
I'm sure we'll talk about it further.
No, we're not going to talk about it further.
All right, no back and forth. Let's stay down. Next question.
My next question is something that has to do with what I've characterized as the church speech. Let me just tell you what the question is, because I know that's not something.
Preserve it for the record.
Huh?
You can preserve the question for the record, but then we'll move on.
That's correct. Thank you. When you gave what I've referred to as the Martin Luther King weekend church speech, you know what I'm referring to?
A great honor of mine. That's a historic African-American church. Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you have handwritten notes with you that you were reading from during the speech?
And on second thought, Mr. Sadov, because you might have a number of questions about this, why don't we just bullet point what you would want to cover on this, preserved for the record, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Since I had laid out before that the forensic misconduct isn't a
So
subject
do
of the
I
evidence.
not get an answer for that?
That's right.
Okay. Did you read your speech?
Well, no, Mr. Sadov, for everything related to any forensic.
Oh, you just want me to stay
misconduct,
out of it now?
We're just not, we can do it in a bullet form if you just want to cover what you would have asked, but it's not in a question and answer format.
Okay, so I should do that at this point or do it
Sure.
when you're ready?
We can do it right now, so it's fresh on
I'm
your.
going to ask her about, did she prepare the speech? Did she have notes on the speech? Did she read the speech? When did she do this? When did she write the speech? Who was she referring to when she was talking about others? Who was she referring to when she said they? Who she was referring to when she spoke in terms of their, that is, their.
I would love to answer those questions.
Well, Ms. Willis, you could certainly do that in some other format, but for today, that's what we decided we're not going to cover.
Who was she talking about that was playing the race card, and why she didn't tell people at the church that she had had a personal / romantic relationship with the, all due respect the way it was characterized, the black man that she was referring to, and was the black man she referring to, was that Mr. Wade?
Okay.
That's that area of inquiry.
Noted for the record, Mr. Sadov. Next topic.
Okay. I realize that you've testified that you have no records that with regard to cash payments,
Yes.
correct? Would your bank records reflect that you withdrew cash from your bank accounts during the time period of 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023? I'm not asking you, I'm just asking whether they would reflect that you withdrew cash from any of your bank accounts.
So the exact amounts?
No, just
But yeah,
that
of
you
course,
did.
of course, I withdrew money throughout that time period, throughout my life. I withdrawn money from the bank. Yes, of course.
Talking about cash from, that is, that you go to a
Cash,
bank
right.
or you go to an ATM
Cash.
and you take cash out.
Either that way, or you go to Publix and you overpay, or you go to another store and you overpay. So yes, both through that, yes, of course they will reflect that at times.
Okay, and so those records, if we had them, would show that, correct?
That throughout the course of my life, I took
No,
out money.
I was very specific. I said
Yes, during the course of
2020.
that time period, I would have taken money out, yes.
So, do you have a problem with?
Absolutely, yes.
You don't want the bank records to be made available for the court and the court
I'm
alone?
going to object as to the relevance, and this has already been addressed earlier as it relates to other records. This is an improper line of questioning. He's doing it for the purpose of harassment, frankly, Your Honor.
I'm just going to sustain it on relevance. Mr. Sadov, that's something you want to follow up privately? You can do that.
Okay. Last area, briefly.
Yes, sir.
You had contact with Mr. Wade in the year 2020, correct?
Ooh, I had some contact with Mr. Wade.
Would you explain when you say some contact? Please tell us, talking about 2020.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade in 2020. One of the reasons your allegations are so preposterous, or Ms. Merchants that you have joined, is.
Ma'am,
No, no,
I
no,
didn't
no.
ask you about the allegations. I asked you about your contact. That's all I ask you, okay? I appreciate that you want to say something, but I'm interested in, did you have contacts with Mr. Wade in 2020? And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
And I do appreciate the
I'm not going to
characterization.
emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm
that
sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that?
All
So I
right,
don't
let's
think we
get
should
back on
discuss
track.
further.
Mr. Sada, next question.
Trying to, Your Honor. Would you tell us on the occasions in 2020 that you had contact with Mr. Wade?
I'm sorry, I thought I had answered that. Yes, yes, sir, there were times in 2020 I had contact, but 2020 was the year I was running for office. It was a year that he was going through some serious medical issues, and I did not have much contact, but I certainly had contact with him in 2020.
Did you
It
go
wasn't-
out to eat with him?
Maybe, probably.
Did you visit him in any location, his office, or did he visit you in your office in 2020?
I am sure I'm sure, ooh, that's a very good question. I'm sure he came to 750 in 2020.
750 is,
Was my office.
okay.
Not often, but maybe once or twice. Maybe I went to his office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
Maybe we would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza, or maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by each other's office though, but not often, not a lot. We both grinding, trying to make a
But wait,
living.
I understand what you've said about the cancer, and I'm not going into that. But when you were going out with him to restaurants, or when he would come to your office, right? Those were not sterile environments, were they?
Oh, very sterile, because it
The
was,
restaurants were sterile environments?
a lot of times we wouldn't eat there. We would pick up something and go in, but they were, you
I'm listening to you. You pick up and take it to where?
maybe eat at our office, but it did not happen much. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And my office in 2020, nobody was coming in. I was stir crazy, so I would still go into my office. You remember when I started this, I said, I am not even sure if we came to each other's offices, but I am trying to be over cautious. So I think I can recall him at 750 a couple of times. I just think I can recall him at 750 once, but let's say twice. I have seen his office. I remember all the awards in the lobby, but I'm not sure in 2020 I went. I'm not even sure I went in 2020 at all. I just want to tell you yes, because I'm not sure. But I have a distinct recollection of him at 750. I actually don't have a distinct recollection of me at his office in 2020. But maybe I went to his office in 2020. Maybe.
Did you have ongoing phone conversations during 2020 with Mr. Wade?
Oh, yeah, I talked to, yes, absolutely. Yes,
Yes, no question about that.
no question, I talked to him on the phone in 2020.
I understood, and this is, maybe I was confused. The Belize trip was for
His 50th birthday.
his 50th birthday, and that was in,
March, he turned 50 March 18th of 2023. If you look at the dates of the trip, I think we were there about 6 days. We stayed at 2 different locations.
and you paid for it.
100%. He said, not only, I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flights, I had a birthday luncheon for him, I paid for massages, I paid for everything.
And would those payments be reflected on your
I
credit
paid for
card?
the cash.
You paid them in cash?
Cabs. I was telling you all the different things.
And I'm asking you whether or not those payments would be reflected on credit card bills of yours.
So there was about $500 that I think is reflected on a debit card. What my recollection is, I took about 4 in cash with me to that.
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent. I probably gave $300 or $400 to this guy who was a taxi driver. He would drive us every day around the 2 or 3 days we went. Took him to eat like it was my trip money.
And you had, to be clear, to end this up, the 4,000 that you've just told us.
But I didn't give it all to him, remember. I only gave the $2,500 to him.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you, that 4,000 is part of your, my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that under any circumstances to you or in
All
court.
right, back on track.
So hoard, cash hoard.
I would not classify it in that way, but I have money at my house, yes, sir.
And the money, when you had money at your house,
But I'm speaking too loosely. I had money wherever I was staying. So I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
so when you were at what we said, the Yerty condo, during the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I stayed there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I want to see if we can get through a few more defense counsel if possible before breaking for today. Mr. Stockton?
Our lawyer has not impressed me so far.
Madam District Attorney, I'm Alan Stocks, and I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Madam DA, you described these various trips, and Mr. Sadow asked you about going to Washington. Did you and Mr. Wade go to New York?
I've gone to New York. I've gone to New York twice since I've been district attorney. I'm trying to think if it's 2 or 3 times. I went to do a domestic violence thing there for sure, and I was honored, and I went to the Apollo there. Those are the only 2 trips that come to mind. I went. He was not with me.
You also said that he was a world traveler and had been on many of the continents.
I've been to 6.
Have you been on any of those continents with him? Besides this one?
Where's Belize? What continent is that? I'm not being funny. I don't know.
Let's say, with the
I've been
exception of...
to Belize with him. I've been to the Bahamas with him. I've been with Aruba with him. Don't embarrass me. I'm not sure what continents those are on. Whatever continents those are, that's where I've been. I'm sure if I gave it some thought, I would tell you. But whatever continents those are, that I've been to those locations, sir.
But not Australia or any other continents?
I don't even want to go to Australia. I do know he took a trip in December to Australia. I have no idea, I don't know anything about that trip.
When Mr. Wade began working with your office,
Yes,
he had 2 other gentlemen that worked in his firm with him, is that correct?
yes, Terrence Bradley worked for him, and Chris Campbell worked, not for him, they worked with each other.
Did you understand what their partnership arrangement was?
No,
Did he ever make you aware of how fees were divided or anything?
no.
Now, since you have been district attorney, the 2 gentlemen that worked with Mr. Wade and his firm, they also had contracts with your office, is that correct?
I probably had I don't,
I don't know if we've covered this in Ms. Willis, but I still don't know what the relevance would be of her testimony to this.
but I've had about 10, I'm sorry, do you want me to answer
Let's
or
figure
not?
this out.
Judge, respectfully, I think based on Mr. Wade's testimony, he had an interest in those contracts.
Sure.
She didn't
And
say
then-
she don't
but
know
how
what
has that been
Brazil
imputed to
is.
Ms.
She
Willis?
said Belize. She doesn't know.
I don't know whether or not she knew she was giving him that benefit. That's what I was trying to explore.
Okay. Well, maybe we can start with that question, and then if she doesn't know about it, then the ins and outs of all the contracts wouldn't be quite as relevant.
Just to lay a foundation for that, though,
Let's see where it
respectfully, I
takes
need
us.
to...
Go ahead.
The 2 gentlemen that were in Mr. Wade's office, did they have what I think's been referred to as a taint contract?
So let me be clear, and I may get the names wrong. When I first became DA, the office was not properly staffed. And so I'm surprised any lawyer would take it, but I did a contract for like $60 an hour to help us out with first appearance. That lasted a few months. Okay, so I can't remember if Bradley or Campbell had that. I'm sure we can have records and I can tell you which one, but I just can't remember now. I liked their experience. Bradley had been a probation officer and a defense attorney. Campbell had been a police officer and a defense attorney. There's a reason I'm telling you this. Then that contract, like I said, it didn't last long. It was just, I was aggressively hiring. As soon as I got where I felt like I had first appearance, enough lawyers for that, I let them go. Then we had what's called a filter contract, but it was not filter for this particular case. I do have a lawyer who does the filter for this election interference case. When we're talking about filter, the contract they had that neither one of them has any longer, I now have another lawyer that does that for me. It was only for police brutality cases. It's for what I call the, so when I first got to be the DA, I had, the whole unit was called anti-corruption. It dealt with both elections and police brutality cases. I actually took a trip to Houston and visited the district attorney in Houston. They divided their work up, and I thought the way she was doing it was better than me. And so I made a civil rights unit. And so they did what we would classify as civil rights cases. Those are specifically the police brutality cases. When I first took over, I was told Paul had not filtered 5 cases. That was a joke. It ended up being the 101 cases. They weren't filtered, which is why I hired 2 of them. Eventually we got it down enough that it was 1 of them. And then now I still have 1 lawyer that does it, but now I've been able to cut those cases down to like 30.
Can you tell me and help me understand what the purpose of the filter is?
Yes, sir. So what a filter is police officers make statements in the line of duty, and you are not allowed as the prosecutor to know what those statements are if they're done in the furtherance of their employment. And in fact, if you know what those statements are, you're basically disqualified from the case. You can't have it anymore. So what our policy is, I think I pay them like a $50 flat fee. They pick the case up directly from the GBI because that's where those cases go to. And then what they are to do is to go through the entire file. So the body cam, which is important because sometimes they'll make a statement to their supervisor on body cam, in the police reports where they write things. It would be easy if it was just some statement of the police officer, but what you find out is these statements are embedded in it. And so what your filter lawyer does is they go through it, they either redact it out electronically or they cross it out, and then once it is crossed out, then they provide it to my team, and then we're able to look at it. That was not being done appropriately when I became district attorney. I thought that it had only been, so Mr. Howard had some Chinese wall thing that I didn't think worked at all, where allegedly those cases were properly redacted. That ended up being a joke. And so the 5 cases really turned into, I'm not gonna say all 101, but a vast majority. That is the work that Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell did for me. They did a really good job. All of those cases that we originally came with, they're done. Those cases they're not just done for Mr. Bradley and Mr. Campbell, they're done through my office. But obviously life is not stagnant. There have been new police cases. I do have a lawyer that is doing that work now. That doesn't work for me, that's same kind of deal. I have another lawyer that does filtering for this case, completely separate.
So in the same private office, you had a filter contract, then you had somebody else handling first appearances and so forth, and then you had a special prosecutor, is that correct?
I'm just not. Ultimately, the answer to your question is yes, but I'm not sure that they did it at the same time. The first appearance contract was either $60 or $90. I don't know really how I convinced them to be able to take that, but I think because it was for such a short amount of time. And then I think I paid my filter lawyers, which I still don't know how I get away with, about $150 an hour. And I want you to understand, the AG pays special prosecutors $1,000 an hour. So I'm a tough negotiator. Paul was paying people up to $375 an hour. I won't pay anyone more than $250 is my max. I have a lot of lawyers for what I have that work at $250, and I cap them every month. You can't go past a certain amount of hours.
Would you agree that if if Mr. Wade and the two other gentlemen that were in his firm were splitting fees in equal thirds, would you agree that he would benefit from the tank contract and also from the other first appearance contract?
I would agree he would make money, yeah, so to make money is a benefit.
Just a thought, guy.
Mr. Durham, if you're still with us on Zoom.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McDougald.
I do have a couple, Your Honor, but it's a little awkward from back here. Do you want me to?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and make your way up.
Almost done. Said he only got a couple.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wills. How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, Mr. McDougall? I think this is our first in-person meeting, correct?
Second.
Second? Well, I apologize for not remembering you more clear.
That's quite all right. I'm referring now to exhibit number 21,
Yes, sir.
which was your financial disclosure form for 2022.
Yes, sir.
And it has a question which requires you to disclose any gifts or favors from a single prohibited source in the aggregate amount of $100 or more. Do you see that?
I don't, but I believe you.
It would be on page 2 in the middle, paragraph number 3.
Yeah, go make that man a sandwich.
Yes.
And what is your understanding of a prohibited source for purposes of this form?
I believe there's some classification of somebody you like don't have a personal relationship with that gives you $100.
All right, if you look under there,
Sorry.
it's subparagraph 2, Romanet 2. It defines it as someone that you know or should know is seeking to do or is doing business with the county, correct?
Yes, but yes, yes.
That includes Mr. Wade as of the date you filled out this form, correct?
Yes, but he never gave me a gift of $100 or more. The only thing that I would say maybe went over that, but I don't think it ever did, is if we went to dinner and my meal was $100, but I don't think I've ever eaten $100 worth of food at a restaurant, because I would not pay him back if we went to lunch or went to dinner. But trips, I paid him back for. You know, I never thought about the money until y'all brought it up. And I would be less than honest that says I was giving him the money back because I was the district attorney. I didn't take gifts from him for a lot of personal reasons. Anyway, I did not take gifts from him.
And so your reason for not disclosing any gifts from Mr. Wade on exhibit number 21 is that the aggregate amount on a net basis was less than $100 in the year 2022. Is that correct?
I did not accept a gift of him of more than $100 in 2022. The one exception to that, because I want us to be clear, is we probably went out to eat multiple times in the year. If you're considering eating a meal, you know, because we went out multiple times, that probably went to the level of more than $100. But if we're doing tit for tat like that, I probably paid for as many meals as he paid for. And so I did not receive any gifts from him.
The question on the form,
I understand the
the
question.
aggregate in excess of $100, and your testimony is that you did not receive in the aggregate more than $100.
All right, Mr. McDougald, you can sit down now.
I don't believe she answered that question, Your Honor. She answered as to specific individual gifts.
And you're not listening to my answer either, so we're done.
Very well.
Okay, Mr. Rice.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Gillen.
Oh, not no more. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't take no more. All right, y'all. So, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Now, of course, not what do you think should Trump be prosecuted? He's still going to be prosecuted. Should she be, or hold on. Who's getting disqualified? Who's getting disqualified? And just for the record, this is kind of a side thing. Their relationship seemed toxic to me. Their relationship seemed toxic. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind having a woman, a friend, who I had sexual relations with sometimes, and she paid for everything. But some of the stuff they said, that seems, look, why are you with dude? Why toxic, Jerica? Jerica wants to know why toxic. If I told a woman, only thing a chick can do for me is make me a sandwich, and she's offended by that to the degree where she won't let me pay for nothing and all that kind of stuff, and if I give her $1, she got to give me $1 back. I mean, she know, like, this dude is, and you could tell she kind of had some stuff she wanted to say. Why would you stay there? Why would you let him keep beating it up? You know what I'm saying? Like, it basically like, I don't even like him. I don't even like him. Like, he a pig. What kind of person is he? He ain't nobody. He ain't like, that feel that, maybe my definition of toxic is different from y'all's, but that feel like a toxic relationship to me. Very contentious. Kind of this tit for tat thing. And Jerica say it must be the D. But, okay, Shahara, she did say she was lonely. She did say she was lonely. Jerica said it must be the D, but she alluded to, even though she said she wouldn't emasculate a black man, she alluded to the fact that that dude couldn't even get it up. He had a form of cancer that wouldn't let him get it up. So, what about when he couldn't get it up? And he's still telling you all you could do is make a sandwich, and he can't, beat it up. So then what? Then what? That sound because it wasn't like, oh, I want his company. Like, she kind of came off like, I didn't even like that end. And like I said, he wasn't beating it up, so it's like, why are you hanging with this dude going? But that's just it. It all sounded kind of toxic. But I think the point that they were trying to make, is, hold on, you were involved in or about to be involved in a sexual relationship with the dude that you was hiring to be the special prosecutor. That's conflict of interest feeling at easily, like you giving your lover county dollars to do the job. And at one point, I was watching a little earlier, and they were talking about the way he was billing, and they're like, he billed the county at one point for 24 hours worth of work for one day. So you worked for 24 straight hours for one day. Now, he was trying to explain that he didn't bill them for 24 hours of work in one 24-hour period. He was basically saying, in essence, I submitted 24 hours worth of work, but that was kind of cumulative. So it all just seemed really, if you ask me, I would say, and I know it'll back everything up, but I would say both of them need to just recuse themselves and say, look, we out. We'll deal with all this other stuff, but we don't want this to taint the prosecution. So we out, get a new special prosecutor, get them up to speed, blah, blah, blah. But how did she not expect this? How do you not expect, like, look, me, if I go after AFTAB, that's just AFTAB, I got to expect that he gonna have people looking into me. That's why I keep telling y'all, I will not do the fire stick and be bootlegging movies. Y'all know I keep saying that? Because if you going after people, they gonna be like, if she had a fire stick, they'd be like, wasn't you watching bootleg movies on fire stick? And we'll all be like, what that got to do with anything? What it's got to do with anything is we trying to dirty you up. You making my life, I'm speaking like from Trump's perspective, you making my life hell, I'm gonna make your life hell. You coming after me? Oh, I'm coming after you. You paid that dude, you were paying for sex, wasn't you? You was giving your lovers some county dollars. You was watching bootleg movies on Amazon Prime. You know what I'm saying? Anything that he got to come after her with, she had to know. And if she didn't, she's foolish. You got to know sometimes when you get involved in a thing, you gotta be clean. You gotta be clean to get involved in whatever the thing is, because you know they coming for you. And I saw somebody say earlier in the chat, like they using his wife, or they use his wife as like a political pawn. You kind of had to expect that. Like, I'm having sex with a married dude. Oh, I don't think the Trump organization and his minions will figure that out. Oh, I'm hiring the married dude to be special prosecutor that I'm having sex with. Oh, I don't think that Trump and his people will put those two things together. Like, come on, Fonnie. Come on. Y'all both should have been smarter than that. Like, look, if he the best lawyer on the planet, but he beating it up, I can't hire you for this. I might be able to hire you for some other stuff. But I can't hire you for this, because you know they gonna figure out we together, and you know how it's gonna look. Come on. So see, I hate that she's in this position. Jen says he was married in name only. It don't matter. He was married. And I can't believe you, Janice, is saying that of all people. He was married in name only. He was married. Come on. Wait. You are a person of some stature. Well, but they were separated. And you prosecuting the former president. Nat says some married people have open relationships. And if you are involved with a married person in an open relationship, you say, I can't hire you to prosecute the former president. If you are a dude or a woman who's in an open marriage, you say, I got to hire somebody else to to prosecute the former president, because guess what? They gonna use my open marriage to their benefit. Come on, y'all. I know we don't like to see the sister get beat up on the stand and all that kind of stuff. And y'all was saying she was talking too much. I don't know if she was talking too much or not. She probably was, but I think it was strategic for her. It's really a matter of, do you believe in her strategy or not? She's trying to get a lot of things on the record. But I just, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I kind of understand what they're saying. I kind of understand the point that they're trying to make. Again, I don't know that it has nothing to do with the actual case. A lot of this stuff is just, it's all strategy. Hell, if I'm going to say Joe Dieters. If Joe Dieters was prosecuting me and I knew that he hired his side piece to be the prosecutor of me, yeah, I would bring that up or get somebody to bring that up to dirty them up. Yes. Twin saying answer the phone. Oh, hold on. I'm still got the other thing going on, Twin. Hold on a second. All right, let's get the phone up here. Hold on. Here we go here. Nate!
Hey, this ain't Twin, but I got a whole bunch to say about what you've been saying and about what's been happening.
Well, what you got to say?
I got tricked by the delay. I got you on the tablet. Let's start with what you just said, what I just heard.
Well, hold on. Let me be clear about something. I said this was going to be a short show. It's clearly not going to be a short show. But I don't want to be here till 6 o'clock. And I got this little baby and I got to get her something to eat. So let's try we'll give you about 5 minutes.
I think I can get it in 5 minutes.
I was about to say all the calls, all the lines are ringing. I only got one line, but I done missed 4 calls already. So we'll give you about 5 minutes and then I'll give other people an opportunity to call in.
The attack. Well, let me just start with the attack on black women, and why we should be concerned. Everybody watching.
All right.
Judge Tracy Hunter went up against Joe Dieters. Joe Dieters, when they say when you shoot at the king, make sure you don't miss. I forget how that saying goes, but make sure you don't miss. Basically, because if you miss when you go up against the king, he's going to come back and he's going to crush you. And that's what they did to Tracy Hunter. And one of the ways that they crushed Judge Tracy Hunter was Joe Dieters, if you remember, went out and hired some special prosecutors.
Yes.
Now, guess what? He had a financial connection to those special prosecutors. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm getting older. I can't remember all these. Scott Cosgrove.
And I can't remember the other guy.
Merlin the Magician, we used to call him, but I can't remember what his real name is. We did everything, being non-lawyers, being activists. We did everything that we could to get Judge Hunter's lawyers to fight against Joe Dieters and his special prosecutors that Trump and the white folks are doing to Fonnie Willis. So it bothers me that, and people might say, well, what was the financial connection that Joe Dieters had to these special prosecutors? We had records of them donating. They would get a contract from Dieters. Then they would take and donate to his campaign. Sometimes, if I remember right, within a matter of days. So this was clearly a kickback. We couldn't get the black lawyer to go fight them with this stuff like these white lawyers is fighting Fonnie Willis. So it drives me crazy when I see Trump and them doing this stuff. Now, Fonnie Willis, in case it hasn't been said, I didn't see the beginning of your show. We got to say, Fonnie, you made a mistake. Why would you get into a relationship with this man? It's just like that prosecutor out of Baltimore that they trying to send to prison. We were so on her side, at least I was, and the activist, because she went up against the cops out there in Baltimore. And lo and behold, they waited. Then she got out of office. Next thing you know, they done filed ethics complaints. Now they done filed criminal charges. That's point number 2.
She was found guilty, by the way.
Huh?
She was found guilty.
Yeah, she was found guilty.
Mosby.
And this is a connection between Mosby, Hunter, and what they're trying to do to Fonnie Willis. There's an old stereotype that black women have two deficient traits about them. Number one, that they sexually promiscuous. Number 2 is that they steal. So I don't know if you remember Michael Martin, our neighbor. His mama, Vera, used to go and clean folks' houses. My understanding is we had some people in our family, they used to go over there to Hyde Park and to the rich white neighborhoods and clean white folks' houses. One thing that Miss Martin took me with her and Michael one day over to these rich white folks' houses in Hyde Park. And she made it a point to tell me, don't steal nothing. Now, why would she say that? I didn't have a reputation of being a thief, but it came to me later as I went to college and I read books and I got to learn about the history. Because if I stole something, they would have put it on her as stealing something, and black women had to live under that. You could see it in movies too, like what's the one which I didn't like, where the black lady doo-dooed in the pie. Yeah, The Help. But they had to live under this cloud that women are prone to stealing. So you got black women prone to stealing and black women prone to sexual promiscuity. They slapped that label, both of them, on Fonnie Willis. If I know this stuff, Danny got to know this stuff. Why would you put yourself in that predicament? And if you remember what they got Tracy Hunter on, the only thing that stuck was she stole, how did you put it? Basically, she was improperly stole some money and helped her brother steal some money by interfering with a contract, which translates to money. And basically, once they put that thief label on her, kind of she was doomed. It would have took a lot to win. So I wanted to make those points, but people gonna say, well, white, because I'm wondering, like, why don't we ever get white people like they get these black prosecutors? And I don't know the answer, but I want to throw the question out there. Hey, I think I did that in another 5 minutes. I'm out of here.
But that's all right.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right. 513-717-5464. I don't know why they don't get them the same way. But people be scared to do it. I guess they think it won't stick if they white. Fame.
Hey, Emanuel, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I won't sound like an echo of your brother, but that's what I've been saying for really 2 weeks since this has been coming out. Like, the worst thing this woman could do is be a stereotype. You know, and she's fitting those stereotypes of the promiscuity, and now she's trying to play it off like he wasn't, you know, he was the one that was, sexually inadequate and all that. What the hell has that got to do with anything?
I don't know.
The cronyism, the cronyism is what's going to is what the problem is. Who cares about how sexually adequate he is?
I'm gonna tell you why I think she brought that up. I think she brought that up because I think she a little bitter about something. That's why she. Oh no, I want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
because he played her.
bitterness.
He played her. He said a woman can't do nothing for me but make a sandwich. So what did she do? Take him to Belize. He played on her ego, and it worked. And now she realizes, just like you said, just like your brother said, if you're gonna take on the former president of the United States, you gotta make sure that everything you're doing is completely above board. I've been putting it in the chat for the last 20 minutes about Tracy Hunter. That's the direct local comparison. You're going at Joe Dieters. You better make sure you're completely above board on everything you're doing. And she didn't. Tracy Hunter didn't. Neither did Fonnie Willis. Make sure everything she's doing. Now she's in the mess that she's in, that she's not gonna get out, and she doesn't. This is not a good account for her. What she's doing, being combative. I mean, like I said, I'm going to repeat some of the things he said. She's being a complete combative, aggressive, emotional stereotype as well. Every negative stereotype about black women, we just watched it in that hour with her ass. She should be ashamed. If little girls are watching, this is not the lawyer you want to become. You need to go watch some episodes of The Cosby Show and watch Claire Huxtable, because this woman ain't it. This was embarrassing. You understand me? The cronyism, the favorite, everything, just everything that's wrong in society is right there with that woman in an hour. I'm gonna hop off here because everybody wants to talk. I'll listen to your reply, Emanuel. Always a pleasure, bro.
All right, Fang. I don't know if I was embarrassed by her at all, because I don't get embarrassed by what other people do. But she might not have represented herself the best. Blade.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Make a long story short, she just got caught up in her power. And I noticed Fame is very hard on black women, and he's always easy on white folks. Beginning not to like that dude. How dare him go hard on her and try to say, young black girls shouldn't look at her as a bad example. She hit a high standard in her life, and she made a couple mistakes. So I don't like the wolf, or either the white wolf, that really go. If he really, like I always say, I think people like him like white people too much. Oh girl problem, no boy problem. They on there, and they told too much, and they gonna get them on that money. That what they gonna get them on that money. Why she always paying stuff in cash like they was hiding something? But it's a sad day. And until the white wolf, we know he like white people too much. Hey, have a good one.
All right. That's Blade. 513-717-5464. That's the number to get on board. I'll give y'all probably about 5 more minutes. I see where Janice did what Janice does. Janice don't do a lot to irritate me, but when she does this, it irritates me. Janice talking about, meanwhile, what are black men doing? We didn't just watch a black man on the stand. We just watched a black woman. And the dude was wrong too. I think I spoke about that. If I didn't, he was wrong. Look, if I'm doing, I'm gonna be like, hey, are you sure this is a good idea? You want to hire me to be the special prosecutor of the former president? And you know I've been beating it up real good. This is gonna look funny if they ever find out about our relationship. I did watch him. I didn't just watch him just now on this show. But yeah, man, the whole thing was all bad. The whole thing was all bad. I remember, when the indictment came down, all that good stuff. People were saying she gonna lose her career over this, and I was thinking, nah, she won't lose her career over this. And I still say she not losing her career if she lose her career. She won't lose it over getting an indictment against Donald Trump. She gonna lose her career if she lose her career, cause of her vagina. And not thinking straight. And maybe some money. Twin.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Twin?
Man, it remind me of that. It remind me when they tried to school old girl. What's the definition of a woman? It's a Supreme Court justice, lady. And it's crazy and sad, man, how we got to go through this. Trump, he a cold boy. He a cold boy. I can't say that, man. Whenever you want to, he go get down to the get down. He don't care if it took 50 years or happened 50 years. He gonna come at you, man, regardless of anything. I don't know, it's a 50-50 chance with that courtroom, man. They win in one side, she win in one side, so it's an even, to me, it's a tie right now. But she's so much under pressure. I know she want to, like, hurry up and get me the F up out of here, because I can't take this.
Yeah, and Twin,
dude said,
I didn't like the way that she, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You upset, whatever. You feel like they done spread lies about you. He ain't never lived with me, all of that kind of stuff. So I get that. But you got to keep your composure when you up there, because some of it ain't necessarily about what you say. In terms of, we watching this, right? We can see it.
Yeah.
They're live streaming it. It might not be about what you say. It's about how you present yourself. And if nothing else, you let them know they got to you. They know, oh, we got to her. Did you see how frustrated she was throwing papers around?
man, she ready to bring out that.
Yeah.
She ready to bring that gangster out of her. That's what she ready. It's at the point right now, like, you know what? But she playing them by their own cards, because they have, that's how you get up there, man. They try to ask you the question, then try to bring it back in a different answer when they know you asking the same question. You just trying to flip the strip and everything, think I'm a dummy, and that's what they try to do. And cross examination, try to get her to look like, oh, we got her. They want her to fumble real quick, say, yeah, we got this little nigga here. But seem like she ain't go fold though from the looks of it. She under pressure though. You can tell about her body language and everything. She under a lot of pressure. Like, man, I'll be glad when it's over with. But I pray she just get up out of that, man, because it's hard out here for black women as it is, and especially for you got 91 indictments and stuff on you, man. You're a cold brother. You colder than Gotti them, man. And you still free and everything, and fighting the case out, man. That's crazy. And they allow that man to do crazy stuff. I never heard nothing like that. Allow the man to do whatever he want to do, man. But that's how the government is now. To each his own.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, man. I ain't gonna hold you up. I know you got more calls than you. You gotta take care of the little grandbaby, man.
Yeah.
All right, then.
All right, Twin, I appreciate the call. But yeah, it's terrible. And it could have all been avoided. CK.
Hey, man, that was a good ass show, man. Thanks for showing us a testimony of prosecuting attorney. Man, it was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was interesting, yeah.
I said, this is why y'all got to stop putting so much emphasis on who fucking who. Don't nobody give a damn if the Boston Celtics coach smashed the executive chick's wife. But y'all, oh, he's cheating on, not Megan Good. What's her name? Nia Long. Nobody give a damn. They ain't even married. So then when she do it, oh, why they care about who they sleeping with? Stop worrying about who people sleeping with. Cause now when they come back on you, now you wanna bring up the they let grown people be who they wanna be. See what I mean? Stop getting in the sexual business.
No,
you know what I mean?
I don't know that I agree with you. I think it's almost the opposite. You need to be responsible about your sexual business, not secretive, but responsible. If there are people under you, even though she says she didn't consider him being under her, but if there are people that you work with or that you're in charge of giving out contracts and all of that kind of stuff, I'm sorry, you can't do it to them. It's irresponsible.
That's ridiculous. If you are grown, this is America. You should be able to sleep with whoever you want to. Now that rule makes no sense. What you're talking about?
CK,
how do you think people?
CK,
okay, go ahead.
Here's why it makes sense. There's a such thing as power dynamics, right? So CK,
yes.
If I am the head dude at the chicken restaurant, and
all right,
you know what I'm saying, I'm hiring all these little girls with babies and all that kind of stuff. I'm adding a little spice to it. I'm adding the little girls with babies, and I know they need this job to feed themselves and their babies. Guess what? I can force them to have sex with me under threat of I'll fire you if you don't have sex with me. I'll fire you. And that's why, because we can't trust old dirty men like, you know, the fictitious me to not do that. So the thing that you say is don't have sex with your subordinates, because then that way, if I didn't have sex with you, I can't threaten to fire you if you don't have sex with me. It's a power dynamic thing.
But you're ruining families. How are we ever going to get married and have children if I'm not allowed to have sex with my coworkers? Don't you know plenty of happily married people married at
sex with your subordinates? And guess what? If I want to have sex with her so bad, either she quit or I quit, because I want it so bad. I will give up this job to get it. But I know I can't do it and her be my subordinate. I'm going to get in trouble. So I have to control me.
So you agree with it?
Yes.
You don't think Bengals players should be allowed to have sex with the cheerleaders, Bengals cheerleaders?
Well, I don't know the power dynamic there. I don't think.
I mean, can't they force them to have sex? Just like you said, well, they powerful, they millionaires, they could just force them to have sex with the cheerleaders.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Do the Bengals players hire the cheerleaders? No. So then that's different. That's different. I don't think Mike Brown should be able to have sex with the cheerleaders if he's involved in hiring and paying them, because he can say to them, if you want to cheer for this team, you got to give it up. That's inappropriate.
Man. But you got to understand this. You should be able, before you and your wife got married, when y'all was girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, you should be able to promote her based on your relationship.
No.
She knows you.
No.
What? This is how people get it put in position.
It's wrong.
Oh my God. Now we throwing away the whole game plan.
Okay, CK,
this is how we got there.
CK. All right, so you work at churches, right? Just hypothetically. You work at churches, right? You over there, you know, doing the menial task or whatever, but you want to be an assistant manager. You work hard, right? But the manager is having relations with somebody who don't do half as much as you, don't work as many hours, don't do a good job, don't show up on time. But he got a relationship with her. So then he promote her to assistant manager on the strength of a relationship. Is that fair to you?
There it is. No, but that's real. But that's how it goes. I'm saying, hey, if you can't stand the heat, get the F out the kitchen. That's how it goes. Only reason I didn't get the promotion, because I'm not a woman with a vagina. This is how America works.
That's wrong.
You get your position.
We
God.
We want to change that, CK. That is not right. It's not right.
That's as American as American pie.
American pie?
I mean, what is it? That's as American as apple pie, my bad. I messed up. That's American as mass shootings. That's as American as mass shootings.
But it is wrong.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's like, that's why I didn't get the quote, because like you said, a pretty woman can get almost anything. Look at Fonnie Willis. Do you think she had to study for those exams and shit when she got them?
Yes.
Why couldn't she just fuck the professor and he just give her a passing grade? You don't think that's how it works?
Hopefully, because the professor has some morals and ethics.
But based on this case, it looks like it's not. If she giving dudes jobs based on their sexual prowess, how many favors did she get based on her sex?
I'm not sure.
So you just think it's a revolving door?
Hold on. First, I'm not sure that she is. I think that's what they're trying to prove, and it look like that could be the case. But that's why they say you want to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, because even if it ain't, it looked that way. And just how we saying how bad she is, it's a bad thing. We don't want that.
But I thought that's what they meant when they said sexual liberation, sexual freedom. A woman has the right to have sex with anybody in any power dynamic. That's the way they come up.
Not any power dynamic. That whole power, and it's not just like, even if the supervisor is a woman, she shouldn't be promoting her male underlings because they beat it up.
Damn, this deep. I mean, you got me looking at it totally different, but you know how you saying how it should be. I'm just telling you how it is. This is how promotions get made because there are no morals.
That's why people fight to change that kind of stuff.
Right. Hey, man, great topic, because I thought it was going to be some BS. I started listening. I was like, oh, it's a good show. I say, hey, man, got some good testimony going here, but this will cause her, like you said, the predictions. This will cause her to lose her position in that case, and it might cause him to escape. She's gone. I mean, what's your prediction if you was betting?
I don't know. I would like to see people recuse themselves.
Oh, rather than get fired?
Yeah, just say, I'm out. Look, I didn't do nothing wrong, but I know it looked bad to some of y'all. Y'all trying to make something out of it. So guess what? I'm out. So now I'm no longer a part of that case. I'm no longer a part of that story. Let them handle it, and that's that. And then we can deal with this here separately.
Man, hey. And just ask the black women, how the black women in your comment section, how they feel about it? They support her or they against her?
I think they support her. They didn't like seeing her being questioned like she was. But I think, and thank you for your call, CK.
Thank you, brother.
But I think, and people need to watch more, like, it ain't court TV. Or is it still court TV? People need to watch more trials and stuff like that. That's how they get down. Like, y'all was too emotional. Oh, I don't want to watch no more of this. Oh, cut it off. Oh, no more. Oh, they being so mean. Oh, I'm getting mad. Like, come on, y'all. Watch more of this stuff so y'all can take the emotion out of it and just see how this stuff go. But my time is up. I appreciate y'all. I wanted to Copenhagen. I would have stayed longer and still probably be watching it if I didn't have this little baby right here that I gotta, put some food in her mouth and belly. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. This was not actually what I wanted to talk about today. I really did want to talk about what I heard on Wyatt's show and what I've been hearing. How people are glorifying like drug dealers and gangbangers and all of that kind of stuff, and want to put all of these negative stories and influences in front of our children to teach them how to act. But nobody want to put positive people who made good decisions their whole life. Nobody want to put those people in front of our children and say, look, this is what can happen to you if you continue to make good decisions. Now, we want to put the negative people up there and say, don't do what I did and glorify them. I don't like that. It's a lack of respect for the people who make good decisions their whole life. And if I'm a kid and I'm listening to the way that people show respect and deference and all that kind of stuff to the former drug dealer, to the former gang member, to the dude who was in prison for 40 years, to all of that kind of stuff, and just the way that they show them so much respect. Like, oh, I respect you so much. You this, you that, you this, you that. Oh, you this, you that, and you this, you that, you this, you that. If I'm a young person listening to that, I'm like, okay, I could join a gang and just maybe eventually change my life. Look at how much respect I'll get for that. That was what I wanted to talk about, but then I saw that Fonnie Willis, or somebody said it was Fanny. I don't know what it is, so I go back and forth until I hear her pronounce it. I'm ambivalent about the actual pronunciation. But that was what I wanted to talk about today. Maybe I'll get to that tomorrow. But I got to get out of here now. I'm not hating, twin. I'm not hating. I'm just not on your jock because you used to be in a gang. I'm not like, oh, you the most special person ever because you used to be in a gang. Like, no, you a dude who makes some bad decisions, and hopefully now you're making some good decisions. But that don't afford you any more respect than a dude who you would call a square or a neutron. So I'm not hating on you. I'm just not all on your tip. Well, like I said, maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's been the afternoon experiment. I said it was going to be a short show, and y'all got me go almost a whole hour over. Why do y'all do that? Why do y'all do that to me? Y'all know y'all ain't right. But all right, I gotta go. Hold on, let me take that off of there. Twin say, so what about 50 Cent? Same. But I appreciate y'all. Until next time, I'm Emanuel Livingston. I'm out, y'all. Peace. All right, you ready to go eat?
Yes, what? Why do you tell them your name? They already know your name.
I don't know. I have to say it. I just say it so that they know it. So that it'll be stuck in their head. Maybe I should tell them your name.
They already know my name.
They don't know your name. No, they don't. They just know little baby. All right, y'all.